Today on Steelers Talk, I am reacting to ESPN NFL Draft Insider and Analyst Mel Kiper Jr.'s draft grades for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last year, he gave them a B+, which was just ridiculous given how awesome that draft class was. Mel Kiper is notorious for not liking the Pittsburgh Steelers, so stick around to see what grade he gave the Steelers draft class here in 2024. But before we get going, guys, ESPN Plus makes you pay $11 a month to view this type of content from Mel Kiper Jr. Today on Steelers Talk, we are giving it to you 100% free. So subscribe to the channel today for free premium Steelers content every single day throughout every single day of the year. We give you guys content every single day, sometimes 2 videos per day. We're going to be putting out 2 videos today. So make sure you click that subscribe button for the most in-depth, extensive Steelers coverage money can buy, absolutely free, right here on YouTube. So first, let's start with Mel Kiper Jr.'s breakdown of the Pittsburgh Steelers offseason prior to the 2024 NFL Draft and where they were heading into the draft this season. Mel said the Steelers have had a fascinating offseason acquiring quarterbacks Russell Wilson and Justin Fields while giving a big free agency deal to linebacker Patrick Queen. They parted ways with several significant contributors, including quarterback Kenny Pickett, wide receiver Deontay Johnson, cornerback Patrick Peterson, and center Mason Cole. They have a talented roster, but their offense was dreadful last season, averaging 16.9 points per game, which ranked 28th in the league. Could they find an O-lineman on day one who could help them close the gap in the AFC North? That is the question that Mel posed before the NFL draft, and clearly the answer to that question was yes, because they didn't just get one offensive lineman to start plugging some holes on the offensive line. But they got 3 of them, and 3 really high-quality ones. So let's start with Troy Fautanu out of Washington. And Mel was a big fan of this pick, saying Troy Fautanu at number 20 to Pittsburgh is one of my favorite picks in this draft. While I ranked him as my number 1 guard, he played left tackle at Washington, and some front office execs thought he'd stick there. I just think he's a tenacious blocker with a potential to be an all-pro. Based on Pittsburgh's depth chart, I see him starting on the left side, specifically at left tackle is what he's talking about there. And listen, man, I do think Fautanu is going to be the starting left tackle week 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, not Broderick Jones. And my reasoning for that, guys, is usually you want to put your better pass protector on the left side to protect your quarterback's blind side. And in my opinion, even going back to college, Broderick was still a little bit raw as a pass protector. Fautanu is excellent in his footwork and his technique and his intelligence as a pass protector already. So I think that he is going to win the left tackle job, and Broderick is going to be a really good right tackle. And honestly, I'm okay with that because Broderick is a really good run blocker. That's been his MO since back at Georgia, where he's a mauling run blocker, very athletic. I definitely think he fits the mold of an NFL right tackle. Obviously needs to get better in pass pro, but between the two, Fautanu is the better pass protector, so I do think he is going to be playing on the left side. But let me know if you disagree down there in the comment section. Who's going to be playing left tackle for your Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024? Do you think it's going to be the new rookie here, Troy Fautanu, type TF, or do you think it's going to be Broderick Jones moving back over to the left side where he played in college, type BJ? Down there in the comment section. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So in just a second here, we're going to be talking about our sponsor, Prize Picks. While I'm talking about Prize Picks, go down there in the comment section. The pinned comment is that top comment right there. You can put your answer down there while I talk about our sponsor today, which of course is Prize Picks. And a big shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. You can download the Prize Picks app today or go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. And Prize Picks has specials for new and returning users alike for the start of the MLB season. When you head on over to prizepicks.com/CLNS or download the Prize Picks app today. Football season has been over for a while, and now draft season is over, but the action on the diamond is just heating up. Get on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your baseball knowledge into serious cash. That is, if you really know ball. The 2024 MLB season is now off and running, and you can pick more or less right now to make some money from the comfort of your couch while you watch your favorite team play every night. Prize Picks is simple to play. All you have to do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can see my projections for tonight's MLB action here. I got 3 pitchers, strikeouts and pitching outs. There's just a couple of the stat projections that you can pick more than or less than on right now when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS or download the Prize Picks app today and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. With Prize Picks, you can pick more or pick less. It's that easy with our friends at Prize Picks. All right, now let's get into the rest of what Mel Kiper Jr. had to say about the Pittsburgh Steelers 2024 draft class, starting with the other picks along the offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers. GM Omar Khan went back to the O-line with 2 of his next 4 selections, taking Jack Frazier at 51, my second-ranked center, and Mason McCormick at 119th overall, my sixth-ranked guard. That's at least 2 new starters for the Steelers' line. Sandwiched between those were the 2 picks that were values on my board. So listen, man, I just think that this offensive line, I mean, it's that we've known here as Steelers fans that this O-line has been in shambles for years now, and I think now it is finally fixed. And it's not only fixed, guys, I think it is stupid good, all right? Because you've got excellent depth at every single position, both on the interior and on the exterior. I do believe Fautanu will be playing left. Broderick will be playing right tackle, and then Dan Moore Jr., somebody with a lot of experience, is going to be an excellent swing tackle in case one of those guys gets hurt. And Mason McCormick, even though I don't think he's going to be a starter right away because I believe Frazier will be your starting center, and you still have Seumalo and Daniels as your really good guard combo, McCormick is somebody that can play all 3 interior offensive line positions, in my opinion. So if one of those guys go down, you can just plug McCormick right in. Plus, Nate Herbig is somebody with experience in the league as well. So you got great depth along this offensive line. And really, I think it's a kind of injury-proof at this point, which is my favorite part of this offensive line. And one of my favorite parts about this draft class and this approach from GM Omar Khan is that it's so versatile. You got so many guys that can play a number of different positions. Fautanu, you can kick him inside if you need to. You got guys like Spencer Anderson that, of course, came out of last year's draft class that can potentially play all 5 positions. You got Dan Moore Jr. that's going to be a good swing tackle. And, of course, you got McCormick that I think can play all 3 interior O-line positions. So I'm really a big fan of what the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing along the offensive line. And now let's get to the rest of the picks in the 2024 NFL Draft for the Steelers. And this is Mel's thoughts on the rest of those picks. Whiteout Roman Wilson at number 84 had 12 touchdowns last season, and his stock was boosted after he ran a 4.39-second 40-yard dash at the Combine. Payton Wilson at 98 dropped due to some medical concerns, but he's a speedy off-ball linebacker with range. Cornerback Ryan Watts at 195th overall isn't speedy, but he can make this roster. So let's go at these one at a time here, starting with Roman Wilson. And I am such a big fan of Roman Wilson's game. I love his mentality, which he said earlier this draft cycle, where he said, no block, no rock, meaning that if you don't block, you don't get the football, and I love that mentality. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says that, by the way, and just look how cool this guy looks in black and gold. He says he's number 1, and I don't know if he's going to get number 1, guys. I guess we'll have to see. He did wear, I believe it was number 14, producer Coop, before. Yeah, no, but 14 before that, right? So look out for him to potentially get number 14 here with the Steelers. It's definitely going to be interesting here. What's that? Oh, yeah, it is Pickens. So I have no idea what number he's going to wear, guys. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. Maybe number 11, that's something to consider there. But when it comes to Roman Wilson, I think he's a downfield threat. We know Russell Wilson still has a great deep ball. He's great on those deep crossers. I'm such a big fan of Roman Wilson. I think he's got the right mentality to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. But the big question for him is going to be, is he going to be is it the number 2 receiver next year? Or is he going to be the number 3 guy? Like, where do they see him fitting in this offense. And honestly, guys, I think he's going to be the number 2 wide receiver, especially if they don't add another piece to this room. Because Van Jefferson, these past 2 years, the production simply has not been there. Calvin Austin III, I've been seeing some people saying that he's not going to even make the roster. I don't think that's going to be the case. He's too valuable as a punt return specialist, and he's somebody that I think, as a gadget-type player, still provides value to this wide receiver room. So I think Calvin Austin III will still be a part of this team, but Roman Wilson will be playing in the slot in the three wide receiver personnel. But I think when you have your 2 tight end sets and you only have 2 wide receivers on the field, I think he's going to be that second wide receiver because he's a really good blocker that's going to fit what Arthur Smith is going to want in those condensed formations. Of course, George Pickens, when he's blocking the right way, he's a menacing blocker as well. So really like Roman Wilson. Watch out for the Steelers to maybe add another wide receiver to this room, but for now, I do think Wilson is that number 2 wideout. So here's the 2024 draft class and my personal grades for each pick here. Of course, you're adding Troy Fautanu. That's an easy A grade for me. I had Frazier at an A-. Same thing with Roman Wilson. Payton Wilson at an A value. Mason McCormick at a B+. Logan Lee in the 6th round is somebody that Mel doesn't even mention in his article here. I gave him a B. And then Ryan Watts III, also a B in the 6th round. Overall, I gave it an A grade. And Mel Kiper Jr. had this to say about this Steelers draft class. This is a stellar class with good players throughout. So somebody that doesn't like the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's somebody that notoriously does not like this team. He gave them a B+ last year in their awesome draft class, which I thought was maybe even better than this year's draft class, even though this year was fantastic. But this year, he finally gives the Steelers an A grade, an A-, not an A+ like Pro Football Focus or a lot of the other media sites out there. But hey, Mel Kiper Jr., he doesn't like this football team, and even he had to give this draft class an A grade. All right, so that's absolutely fantastic. That just shows you how good of a job Omar Khan did this year in the draft. So what is your grade for Pittsburgh's draft class? If it's anything other than an A, man, I just don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you're upset they didn't get a corner. I can certainly understand that, but I think they're going to address that in free agency here coming up. I think based on the value that you got, guys, you have to give it an A, but that's just my personal opinion. Now, make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already for extensive Steelers coverage throughout the offseason here. Later today, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about some of the UDFAs, the undrafted free agents that the Pittsburgh Steelers ended up signing this cycle. And then tomorrow, we're going to be going over free agency and trade targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers after the NFL drafts. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we got some great Steelers content coming your way.